it's making sure that even in those conversations, whoever's on the other end of that phone feels your value. And if your name gets brought up in a conversation with a different manager 2 months down the line, they're going to think, oh, actually, when I spoke to that guy, Mitchell, yeah, maybe he could help us out with something. So it's building every single relationship, valuing it extremely highly. And then when those opportunities do come, or you get that little bite, like absolutely making sure you knock it out the park.
Welcome to Saul Searching, the Saul Recruitment Podcast, where we tackle all sorts of great topics in the areas of recruitment, job searching, mindset, technology, marketing, culture, and lots more. It's amazing what you'll pick up. Thanks for joining me. Welcome, everyone. It's been a while. I've been offline for a bit, but it's episode 64 of Saul Searching, the Saul Recruitment Podcast. And I've got a great guest here with me all the way from the UK. Fantastic UK recruiter, Mitchell Wright. How you doing, Mitchell?
I'm good, Darren. I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm so happy that you reached out and always looking forward to collaborating with my UK recruitment partners.
Oh, perfect. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's 5 a.m. here. Got me up nice and early, but ready to get after it.
Talk about dedicated, doing a podcast at 5 a.m. This guy's ready. For everyone out there, it's going to be a great episode. We're going to be talking about Mitchell's journey in recruitment and payment tech from grad to global. So Mitchell is a recruitment consultant at SearchWorks with over 3.5 years of experience. He came straight out of uni into SearchWorks as the third hire in their Manchester office and fifth hire into the business. Since then, he moved into a new role with SearchWorks, heading up their US recruitment division and building out a desk across the US, focusing in that niche of payment technology. So, mate, that's an incredible trajectory straight off the bat. Hasn't been long.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a wild 3.5 years to say the least. It's gone so quick. Like I look back and think like coming up to 4 years, and then it literally feels like it's been 2 or 3 months since I've got going. But I guess that's recruitment. It moves that quick, doesn't it?
Indeed. I always say recruitment is 24/7. That's
big time. There you go.
And so, what did you study at uni?
Oh, see, so this is my a lot of work. Also, I'll take the mick at me for this. So I didn't quite go to a conventional uni. I went to a university called UCFB. So it's the university campus of football business. Right, nice. And I studied football business and media. Recruitment is like a similar story for everyone, isn't it? I always feel like I didn't know what I wanted to do and just sort of fell into it. That was very much me. I went into uni and sort of came out of college, and sort of the one like passion I've always had is football. And I think I sort of wanted to go down like a bit of a media route, whether that was like journalism, commentary, along those kind of lines. And I just remember sort of being into my like second or third year. I used to do like commentary for a really like low level club where you'd run all of the club news, do commentary stuff. And I remember being like sat there pouring down with rain on a Saturday afternoon, freezing cold, and thinking, yeah, this isn't as glamorous as I thought in my head. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I went from there at uni, and then just typical fell into recruitment, and that was that.
And how did you actually fall in? Did you go for an interview and someone said, "Oh, you'd be good as a recruiter," or how did you think recruitment?
Yeah, I can give you the short story or a little bit of a longer one. It was like I said, I'd literally had I must have finished uni within a week or so. My dad used to live up in the Isle of Skye in Scotland. Was building a new house out there, and obviously I'm like obviously originally from Barrow, and to go up to Skye is like a 10-11 hour journey. Sounds like nothing for you guys, really, obviously. That's
we can do that like that.
Yeah, but for us, that's like, oh my God. So anyways, went up there for 2 weeks to go and help him with some labouring. And obviously while I was there, I was going through different graduate roles because I was set on wanting to stay in Manchester. I didn't want to go back to Barrow. And then it was literally going through different grad roles, didn't really know what it was. And then obviously you see on the adverts, don't you, like amazing upside, promotions in your first 6 months, blah, blah, blah. I'll just press on it and see what happens. And then I had a rec call me the next day. And we had a 30-40 minute call. He was like, oh, if you can come back to Manchester like in the next day or two, I'll have you like 4 or 5 interviews lined up. So we've gone all the way up to Skye. Was there for about 2 days. My dad was fuming because I've now ditched him off to do all the labouring. Go back to Manchester. And I had about 2 or 3 of the interviews. I think SearchWorks was the third one.
Right.
And then, yeah, went from there, and that was off your roll. It was good as that.
It's crazy. I think the recruitment origin story must be the best story.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the most crazy stories.
Uh,
We come from all over the place into recruitment. And then once we're here, we never leave.
that's it.
One of those things. And so what was it like going from uni and other stuff and going straight into such a fast-paced
Yeah.
startup environment?
Do you know what? It was actually, I think, really good for me, especially being at somewhere like SearchWorks, because, like I said, I went in there as the third hire in Manchester, and then there was another 2 lads up in London, and I had no real kind of like work experience in like an office setting, and I think I was able to probably get away with a lot more stuff just in terms of you don't know how to act in like an office environment, especially when I was coming at 21, and
Yep.
Adam and Danny and some of the other lads who were there were all like 28, 29. I think Adam maybe like sort of a little bit younger, but I was the youngest one by quite a way. And yeah, you come into a new environment, you don't really know how to act. You still try to work yourself out. It's like, are you with your mates? Are you with like work colleagues? So I think I was able to get
Culture,
away. Yeah,
what can I do? What should I, what should I do?
big time. I look back now and I think obviously complete different person 4 years later. I think it was really good for me being in an environment like that. And do you know what? It's always like the cliche of a startup where it's like, oh, you can sit next to your director and learn firsthand everything. That really was the case. And I think within a month or so, recruitment seemed to be something that just clicked for me. I know you hear stories about people where it's taken 6 months to do the first deal and all this, but I think I came in at a really good time. The market was booming. We had a really good lot of strong clients, and I was in a perfect situation where I just came in, was able to just start smashing deals in left, right, and centre, and it seemed pretty easy at the time. So yeah, it was a really good matchup, like straight off the bat. But I think I was lucky with the situation I came into. It suited and fitted me really well.
Did they give you lots of training?
Not so much sit down for an hour. We're learning this today. It was literally more so just here's the basics. This is what I want you to do. But I think what Sam, my director, and Alex as well have always been good at SearchWorks is letting you evolve and develop in your own style. That's what I love about recruitment so much, is that you can be successful in so many different ways. And
Definitely.
That's what I always think makes a really good recruiter, is someone who understands what their way is and then develops that. 'Cause like I'm quite loud, fast paced. I like the non-stop, and I can be quite extravagant and loud, and I have to play off that because that's what I'm good at. And there's other people in the business who maybe are a lot more introverted, quiet, more pragmatic in the way they do things. And again, it's just developing that style and then making sure it's effective. So that was what we were always really good at. And like I said, Sam's a different personality to me. My director, he's maybe a lot more quiet, reserved, obviously super successful. So it wasn't more so come in, this is how you've got to do stuff, this is how you've got to act. It was work out what you're good at, these are the basics, and then just run with it, which suited me well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It applies to everything. Like there's so many different personalities in the world. We're all got different styles.
Yeah.
We have to know who we are and just work to those strengths. We can't try and change ourselves and be something else, because it doesn't work.
Nah, exactly. And that's, I think, sales and recruitment is the stereotype is that you've got to be super extroverted, super out there, the pub taking clients out, getting drunk 5-6 days a week. It's literally not the case.
There's some especially very quiet, introverted recruiters that are just killing it. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And that's what one of the lads who I work with, like, is my best friend from home who joined SearchWorks as well, Alfie. He's absolutely killing it at the moment on the client side and on the candidate side as well. And he's, typically quieter, more introverted, not up in face like maybe I would be all the time. That's my favorite thing about it. Work out what you're good at, develop that style, then once you've hit your mark. And
nice. Love it. And so then why do you think they flagged you so quickly to build up the whole US branch?
Oh, good question. Do you know what? It's something that I've been passionate about as long as I can remember. I've always had in my mind that I'd love to make a move over to the US, and I've always been infatuated with just US culture. I follow a lot of US sports in general, and obviously you can just look on paper at the upside of it. It's bigger salaries, bigger fees and margins. I think there's less recruitment agencies out there, and way more spend. It almost doesn't make sense to not be over there. But it's something that I brought up. I'm trying to think when it must be maybe 2022. I think it was during a promotion meeting I had for going. I can't remember. It was going up to a consultant or up to a senior consultant, but we had to draw out essentially like a 5-year plan of where we'd like to be and what sort of direction we'd like to move in during our interview. And I'd said into it that by 2025, 2026 to be starting a US desk and sort of pipelining to be able to move out there. And like I said, we had a bit of a restructure to the business earlier this year where we've changed our whole approach. It was essentially we were all just almost acting like freelancers, just on a 360 basis, and it was pick up your clients, bill it. And we were trying, I think we hit a point where we realized that we had to have a refresh, have a difference in approach, and we brought in a new, I guess, a layered approach to things where we've now got like a dedicated sales team and business development team, dedicated accounts team, and dedicated delivery team, which has really helped us like maximize what we're doing. But it was just a perfect opportunity for me to fully pick out a new niche, new market. And yeah, I think the business development side of things is probably where I've been strongest at throughout my career. And yeah, Sam and Alex gave me the trust to go and build out the US desk. So it's been going well so far, and I'm like absolutely loving it. It's a very different experience to over in the UK. I think it's certainly maybe a bit slower paced, and we can get into that a little bit more. But yeah, it's took maybe a month or two to try and adapt to it, and it's a completely new role, new job, new area. I've loved doing it. It's been great.
That's awesome. Because it's actually quite common practice for UK firms to expand into the US. More so than in Australia or something. It's for some reason the UK firms are all going to the US. It's just I don't know why.
Yeah, like I said, the fees and the margins and the salaries out there. It seems like a different ball game. We look at some salaries here where it might be for a product manager, like a senior product manager might be at the £70,000 mark, and then exact same job in the US and you're looking at 200, 220.
Oh,
and it's crazy. Which, like I said, it's for recruitment perspective, it's thing like
for sure,
get a hold of that kind of stuff. Yeah, the fees and the margins and everything. On paper, you can see why so many UK firms are making that move now.
Wow, that's incredible. So bizarre that people are getting paid so much more for a similar role in the US. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
bizarre.
I'm not complaining though.
Yeah, exactly. and what's it actually like? Building relationships, doing the general day-to-day, the system, the methodology of recruitment. Are there subtleties? Like, where do you see it's different in the US?
Yeah, do you know what? That's been the biggest takeaway and the biggest difference so far has been, I think, the pace at which things move at, and the emphasis on relationships. I think a bit slow pace. So I thought you were telling me to speak a little bit slower. Yeah, and the pace of things. Do you know what? I look at when I was just doing the UK stuff. I think if you said to me, Mitchell, you've got 24 hours to go and pick up a brand new fresh client, don't care how you get it done, but 24 hours, make sure it's sorted. I think I'd have felt confident that if I had to, I could have sat there for 8 hours, built out a list and cold called it all the way through it. I probably wouldn't have had a very good response to it, and I'd probably annoyed a lot of people on the other end of the phone. But eventually, I think I'd have probably got one and had it signed. Whereas if you told me to do that and sit and do it in this US desk, got absolutely no chance. The cold calling culture feels like very different over there. In the sense, I think I could cold call 100 people. I definitely don't cold call all the time. If I do cold call, I'll always I'll make it structured and designed, have a reason for people I'm calling and all the rest of it. But I could cold call, I reckon, 100 people in the UK, and you'd probably get like 50 would answer. You'd probably get maybe 40 of them telling you to do one and don't call me back. But you'd at least get the answers, then which way you can try and slow it down, question it, and try and keep them there. You could call 100 numbers in the US, and you might get 99 voicemails. It's a complete.
They won't even answer.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's a complete different game. And yeah, I think that's what it's also been is that it doesn't feel as fast paced. Even when a job's super urgent, it's still a case of let's learn a little bit more about let's build like a real trusted relationship. You don't want to just partner with anyone, which can be in the UK a little bit, and if it doesn't work, we just sack them off, not a problem. You want to have a trusted partner. You want to understand about you want to know what you can do for the business and why they should use you. Which really you have to slow that down, because if you're going 100 miles an hour,
there's a bit more prep and study before you even put a proposal together and have more information.
100%.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's been the biggest difference. And like I said, it's only been since we've obviously done this change, it's been about sort of 3 or 4 months now since this has been like full-fledged on this stuff. But it's been great. I know a lot of people hate doing business development, but I seriously enjoy it. So I love that feeling of the slowly knocking away at something like chip by chip. Like there's a few bits I've got going on at the moment where, they are in that kind of like ideal client profile. That's what when we start out on this, we picked through 50 to 100 ICPs of these would be your dream clients. And then we've developed like a long strategic initiative to be able to start getting them in. And there's a couple at the moment that are close to or nearly getting done. And looking back over that process where it's taken about 3 months, which again is quite short. There's lots of them that might take 6 to 12 months, like who knows. But it's like you're being a detective, going out there and speaking to people, understanding the pain points, not just what projects you're working on. If you've got a role I can pick up, yeah, cool, let me speak to someone. That was what it previously used to be. And anyone can do that. Whereas with the US-based stuff, it feels like you need to be a sales professional, not just someone on the other end of the phone trying to pick up a job, if that makes sense.
So it's a little bit more polished and a bit more mature, sophisticated.
Definitely, that feels it. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, very interesting. And what about the hours, and how do you work with all the hours, and how does that work?
Yeah, do you know, I was actually, Alex, my director, was saying to me a couple of weeks ago, because we always have we have like meetings in the morning. Obviously, the rest of the team are UK, so they're starting at 8 a.m. or whatever, and they'll have an 8:30 meeting. He was like, how are you getting on, mate? Like, you all right missing all the meetings? I was like, don't worry about me, mate. It's fine. don't need them meetings. I'm all good. But yeah, like I said, that's what I've changed. I've essentially been given the freedom by Sam and Alex to essentially work to whatever routine or structure I need to. If I've got a day on where I haven't got any meetings and it's going to suit me better off doing the UK hours, I'll work the UK hours. If I've got, sometimes if you've got Pacific times, you might be having calls at 10, 11 p.m. at night. So it's totally just been working around what's in front of me.
Because what's the basic changeover? Your morning is there.
Yeah, so it's 5 hours behind.
5 hours behind. Okay.
Time. Yeah, so say if I started at 12, it's about 7 a.m. there.
So you just work
just work later. It's not been any sort of huge change. And like I said, I quite enjoy it. It's been something fresh, something new, which after 3.5 years, it's been nice to have a change of pace, doing something new. And it almost feels like I'm just getting a taste of what it would be like to build my own business. That's essentially what I'm doing. We haven't really got any US presence there, and I'm the one going out there and growing it. So it's been great.
It's very rewarding to try and see how this thing builds from scratch. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's been very cool.
And I believe that you're working only in payment tech. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's been the real focus for us. It's something that we've maybe done a little bit in the past where we've focused on specific like niches or industries, but never really to the extent I have been now since setting this desk up. And yeah, it's been super beneficial knowing the serious stakeholders in it, being an actual expert and a specialist in that area, so that when someone needs help on hiring within payment tech, you have an actual network, actual information and know-how. So yeah, it's been great. It's been something I've enjoyed doing.
Awesome. And for my own knowledge as well as the listeners and viewers, what is payment tech? What actually is it?
Well, payment tech is essentially everything. And that's been like one of the most fun things about doing it over this like short while is that the pace and the speed and the evolution of which it works. I guess on paper, if you said, let's talk about payments, you'd think, this can only go one way and it's not a very exciting one. But especially on the tech side, it's everything. You're looking at, say, crypto now, one-time payments as a service, digital wallets when you use it. It's Monzo, Revolut, and there's so many disruptor banks, the classic financial services, the way AI is driving stuff now, which is like seriously elevating and evolving the way that you pay for things on a day-to-day, and it's changing the way that businesses have to focus on essentially their whole business, the way that customers can ease of access, global and international payments, security. Like it's such a large hub. And yeah, with AI and obviously say with Trump coming back into power and Elon Musk obviously being like a huge part of that now, going through X and obviously his like influence into the crypto scene and everything else he's got with it. The companies that are adapting into payment technology and keeping up to date with things, you're seeing a significant difference compared to some of the older financial institutions and services who aren't really moving. Wow. Yeah, it's just moving so quickly. I go on there because I'll always try and make a couple of posts a week about recent payment tech news and things that are happening. And it's almost hard for me to keep up just doing that twice a week. The
So,
things
so
are
it's
moving
really just
so
about
quickly.
any way that you can physically pay for
Essentially,
something.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
all the
essentially.
process and the back end behind it.
Exactly, yeah. But there's so many different ways you can do it now. And like I
Yeah.
said, there's different companies who are adapting different digital payment solutions and
Yep.
different methods. And
Huge.
like I said, AI has obviously been a massive changer in it. Like that's been the best thing about really adapting a niche. And something like so we've got our Leaders in Business podcast I do with my director Alex, and some we've been focusing on that. We've been speaking to leaders within the payment space, and that's been a massive help for us in terms of hearing firsthand from leaders in that industry about the changes, what's happening, the difference throughout their career, and all that sort of stuff. But I've actually seriously enjoyed like learning about something new as well. So yeah, it's been great. And like I said, it's just not slowing down. The market's held out so well, which is obviously great for us. You always get that dip sort of coming up to Christmas, don't you? Where people are off and it's hard to book interviews, people are moving jobs over, but payments has held out incredibly well.
And so why did you guys choose that as a niche? You just see the future, it's expanding, and
I was going through it and saw an opportunity. And like I said, there was a few different options in terms of what to maybe look at. And like I said, we've got a few different divisions at SearchWorks. We've got a sort of like a renewables and a green tech division, cybersecurity, and then Alex heads up the payments on the UK side. So we thought it was worth with payments going UK and US for it because we saw the score. But yeah, like I said, there was a few different things we were looking at, and if you just looked at the numbers, the market, the evolution of the technology, and how quick that was changing, it made complete sense to do it.
Yeah, fantastic. I love it. So interesting. And I believe that you've had some big wins in your time.
Yeah, I'd like to say I've done all right.
And the US.
Yeah, I'd like to say I've done all right with a couple here and there. Yeah.
Nice. So maybe give us a bit more of an insight into some of those stories or what lessons you've learned. What can other recruiters learn from that process? Maybe just give us a bit of insight.
Yeah, totally. Do you know what I think the important thing to remember when going after the bigger clients, somewhere you might look and it's 1,000 employees plus, and there's so much red tape and HR and everything else, and you think like this isn't going to happen. Like it's the exact same thing, just on a longer and larger scale. You've got to have value and you've got to understand pain points, and timing's also a big part of it. But again, that's also stuff that would completely apply to a 20-man company. It's just a scale. So that was something I tried to make sure I remembered. Yeah, like I said, especially being SearchWorks, a startup agency, you're almost on the back foot a little bit because you don't have that large name and you don't have the experience of working with huge other clients that they might relate with. But that was the key things for us, the key things for me was learn about the issues and really focus on the relationship with whichever stakeholder you were speaking to at that time. I remember going through days with a couple of the larger clients with one where it was a case of you might be speaking to 10, 15, 20 different managers to try and understand any issues, any need, any leads you can pick up, what problems you might have. And it's not speaking to someone and thinking, when you have a phone call with someone after 2 minutes, you think, oh, this is a bit enough. Maybe how you felt at the start of this podcast, I don't know. Where you speak to someone after 2 minutes and then you think, oh, I want to just put the phone down, like I'm not getting anything out of this. It's making sure that even in those conversations, whoever's on the other end of that phone feels your value. And if your name gets brought up in a conversation with a different manager 2 months down the line, they're going to think, oh, actually, when I spoke to that guy, Mitchell, maybe he could help us out with something. So it's building every single relationship, valuing it extremely highly. And then when those opportunities do come, or you get that little bite, like absolutely making sure you knock it out the park. Actually, I remember there'd been one main manager that we'd been speaking with for about 2 years, who headed up like a tribe in his area. And we got introed into the head of sort of technology and QA, had a couple of meetings with him. And then he basically said to us he had this project of hiring that was coming up. He said, show me 6 different candidates, and if I love every single one of them, I'll make it happen. So it's like when that opportunity comes up, making sure that no stone left unturned and you absolutely smash it. We were lucky enough to do that, and then we ended up getting everything sorted. There was a lot more procedure from there, but that was the legwork done. Consistency, relationship building, always holding yourself to a higher standard when you're speaking to these guys would be the 3 keys for me.
Yeah, I'm hearing that obviously what you might have needed to do to win a deal against a much larger established competitor is that relationship. And then once you've got that relationship, being able to actively and quickly respond with the right candidates.
Totally. It's not a lot of people can talk a talk, and I can feel like I can be victim of this sometimes. Where you talk a big game, and then you've got to start walking. And you think, "Oh crap, I've got myself in here for now." Yeah, it's being able to back it up, and like I said, once you get the opportunity, making sure you can deliver on everything you've said.
Nice, well done. And in terms of payment tech in itself, where do you see it changing or growing? Do you see anything particular that you want to focus or pivot in the future, or just see where it leads?
Well, do you know what I think? Like the most probably exciting thing that's happened in this last, essentially since Trump's been re-elected, and it's going that way, has been. And I don't want to come on here and sound like some like crypto nut. No, people got a stereotype, and I'm certainly not one of them. Like it's never really been anything.
I don't know. I've never bought any Bitcoin. I got no idea.
Yeah. I wish I had, probably looking at it now, but like I said, I've never really bought in it, invested it, or anything like that. But seeing the way that crypto has reacted to the market and all of the Web3, the digital wallets, the BlockFi companies, and the advancements they're coming, because they're still a little bit behind. Obviously, you've got like Binance and Coinbase and some of those really big established companies in like Silicon Valley, but there's a lot of the smaller startup scale companies, which obviously a lot of it's going to come down to that technology continuing to evolve. But even like looking away, like Ethereum works and smart contracts, and then the contractor market, like you can see that the digital wallets and the crypto market continuing to evolve at such a rapid rate. I think there's like a huge opportunity, especially on the recruitment front, where if we can get in front of some of these guys nice and early, it could make for a massive impact over the next couple of years. So that's something I'm super excited to look at. And I guess like outside of that, it's just the pace and the speed of what things are moving at on like an international scale, like how quickly you can pay for something now and it can be just like that, seamless, no problem. So it's the way the technology is evolving. I think probably the most exciting thing for me.
I think, I'm not sure if they do it already, but I think in some parts of Asia, they've already got a chip, or no, in Dubai and some of these places, they've got a chip in their hand and they just pay and it does everything already.
Yeah, you can walk into a shop, grab something. It's what we'd call shoplifting, but it's now you just walk onto a shop, takes out your account once you go through the front door. It's wild.
I also heard a story of someone was going to some kind of event and they went into the merchandise and like store to buy some refreshments and other things and merchandise and everything. And all they did was walk around, look at what they were wanting to buy, grab it, and walk out. And the system paid for it. Like they already scanned and knew what they had to buy, and they just walked out, and it's already been paid for. I mean, that's crazy.
I was going to say, could you imagine telling yourself that like 10 years ago? Could you imagine telling yourself that like 2 years ago? That's like what excites me about it. It's just like the pace of everything is just like rapid, and it's not even in payment tech; it's just in technology.
It's just technology. It's just all scanning. It's all 5G, and everything's just.
It's either get like super excited about it and buy into it, or just remain terrified and not leave your apartment. So I'm trying to do the first one.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And what about your journey as you build the US market? There's going to be a point where you might have to start managing people. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's been something I've had a little taste of in the past. I've previously managed like it was 2 different delivery consultants, and it was something I enjoyed doing. I'm a people person. I think I'm good at trying to get my point across and be able to relate to different people's personalities. It was something that, like I mentioned at the start, people have different skill sets play to them. I think it's something that I enjoyed doing. The task always for me was obviously because I'd only been doing it for about 12, 18 months when I first started having a little taste of managing. You learn that kind of mindset. Like I'm a super competitive person. Like whatever I'm doing, whether it's just playing football, could be like running, or I could literally be playing like a board game with my girlfriend or whatever. If she beats me, I'm not in a good mood. So like that used to be the problem where you'd almost from a selfish point of view, you feel like, oh, I'm having to put loads of time into someone, or I'm having to take away from my job when I've got other roles and responsibilities sat here and I just want to try and build and do those deals. Just try to find out that balance. But I think it was maybe more of a structure thing at the time. I think with this new laid approach that we've got, it's something I think in the future would be really good to do. Ultimately, I love being an individual contributor. Like I think it's something I'm good at. But I think to continue to grow and scale, you probably can't really keep doing that forever. But no, I enjoy management. I love working with people. And I'd love to be able to back in 24 months and have a team of 4 or 5 people underneath me who are, doing all the hard work I'm doing now, and I can sit back a little bit. So,
can you see yourself still being actively working a desk and still billing, or you want to maintain the relationships and just manage purely?
Yeah, good question. Probably a lot of it would be, purely on the management and continuing to build pipeline.
Right.
I think that's what I'm best at is changing prospects into clients and going to get new clients. That's where my skills lie. And that's why this role's been so good at letting me utilize that for all of my time a day, rather than having to dip my toe in the water and then do this, do this, do this. Yeah, I think that's what I love to do. I love to have an idea of a client to get at and slowly chipping away at it. And like I said, a lot of the time it doesn't work, and a lot of the time you're gonna have to come back to it in X amount of months or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you can start to see the cracks appearing and you're making the moves on it for an entry, it's great.
And what about in terms of the geography? How many times have you been to the US, if any?
Yeah, I've been over a couple of times. Been to New York twice, and yeah, I'm desperate to get out there on a client visit. It's like as soon as possible. I absolutely can't wait. I love the US. I've always been like super infatuated with it. Like I was just obsessed with the NBA and the basketball growing up.
Nice.
And then went over to New York a couple of times, went and gone watch the Knicks play. But I just love it over there. I love the pace. I love the people, like, especially New York. It's just like non-stop. I remember, like nothing else. I was one of the mornings I went for a run one of the mornings, 7-8 o'clock. So I thought, let me get up and I'll go and be able to like see the city a little bit. It's maybe not super busy. Yeah, how wrong was I?
Good luck.
Went through Central Park, and on the way back, we basically blocked off like the whole street because we were filming some big massive movie with this huge big. It almost looked like a Batmobile was like smashing through the streets. I was here just like, what is going on? And no one else even looked bothered. It looked like everyday life. They're used to all that stuff. But yeah, that's the main thing. Want to try and get established, be able to get some client meetings set out there, and then the whole Money 2020 event.
Do you have to have like physical relationships, or can you do so much just remotely?
Oh, you can definitely do loads remotely. Ultimately, the relationship when you can go and meet in person, really understand someone outside of a half an hour Teams call, when you might have a couple of minutes of small talk and have to get on to work, when you can sit with someone, go out for food, go out for drinks, whatever it might be, you're gonna gain like such a deeper understanding of that person, which again, like it feeds into the recruitment, like understanding someone's personality, understanding what they do and don't like. So next time that you speak to someone, you might think, oh, actually, now look at this person's maybe not quite right for what they want to build out here, rather than maybe someone just looking good on paper and thinking, yeah, like they'll do a job. So yeah, it's desperate to go out there and meet clients. So that's a goal, hopefully for early next year. Fingers crossed.
That's nice. And I can imagine you must be doing lots of Zoom and Teams stuff as well.
Yeah, a lot of Teams calls, meetings, jam packed.
Yeah, non-stop, one after another. My God, how the world has changed.
Oh, big time.
Mitchell, tell us a bit more about SearchWorks, and I'd love to hear more, and so people can work with you guys and reach out to you if they want to as well. What kind of areas do you specialize in? Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so obviously we've got a website, and our LinkedIn page is the best place to get onto us at. In terms of our specialisms, I think like I mentioned earlier, we've got a green tech and renewables division, obviously payment tech across in the UK and the US, and also cybersecurity function. Outside of that as well, obviously when we first started, we didn't have these select niches. It was almost a case of we're getting off the ground here, go and pick up everything and anything you can, which still, for that being our kind of technique for a while, like we've got we work with a couple of the big four, some like huge wealth management companies, some like major players across e-commerce, lending, fintech. We've got a huge array of clients, and it's great because that's the thing with recruitment, where this sounds like I'm degrading recruiters, but it's almost like the role with the least amount of qualifications, or the actual
the lowest barrier to entry.
Which has like the highest upside, which is, it's so funny. But obviously, once you get into recruitment and like really understand the game, and you can start sharpening those specific tills. But as that entry, anyone can really get a job in recruitment, can't they? But yeah, that's been the thing for us. So like, we've got a huge different array of clients across UK, US, Europe. And yeah, we're tech first, but outside of that, finance, marketing, sales, tax, we cover it all.
Nice, mate. Mate, it's fantastic. I love it. I love your energy. I love the journey. You've done so much in such a short period of time. Mate,
I appreciate it.
You're obviously very good at what you do, and you're very.
I try my best.
And you're also very driven to develop yourself and develop the skills that you need to be a success in the role, which is so important.
Yeah, that's definitely been the main thing for me. I think it was something that I adapted from pretty much when I very first started my career. If you can be the first one in and the last one out, you doing something right. And then at least if by the end of the quarter, end of the year, even if you're still at the bottom of the leaderboard, you're working harder than other people. It's maybe just not as smart as it needs to be in tinkering those tools. So that's something I've always tried to remember.
That's amazing, mate. And so what advice would you give for anyone thinking about breaking into a new market in another country? It might not be the US, but just in general.
Oh, good question. What advice would I give to someone starting a new desk for a territory? Be prepared to, at first off, take the losses and the slow pace. You're not going to build something new. Obviously, if you've got a really good previous desk that you're still a part of and just does things for you, great. If that's not the case, like, you're not going to bill as well in the short term. You're not going to do all the things that maybe you would be doing. You've got to keep the long term. Yeah, you've got to keep the long term play in mind. Be patient. Do everything that you were doing, but make sure that you are doing the research and doing the homework. If you're working in a territory which, like the US, you don't want to take cold calls a lot of the time, or there's different tactics, different people, just speak to people. And it's even an idea I've had just recently. I'm actually speaking with a lad today who is from a UK firm who has started his own desk and he's been doing that for the last 2 years. And I thought, what a great idea. Let me speak to him and understand different methods that he's done and how he's understood it. And like I said, speaking to people in the market, speaking to people who've done similar things to what you're trying to achieve and trying to do, and soaking it all up. And when you go and deliver.
Nice. Love it. And just out of interest, while you're talking, I'm thinking in the US, for example, what do they respond to more? If it's not cold calling, is it LinkedIn messages? Is it phone call? Is it meetings?
Yeah.
Like what's the best way?
But do you know what? I probably utilize a couple of two or three different ones. Cold emailing, but it's not cold emailing where you're sending out a mass mail merge to 1,000 different people or whatever.
It's very tailored.
Yeah, very tailored, very specific. There was something I listened to. There's a guy called Mike Anderson, who is a recruiter over in the US. The guy's an absolute savage. Like, he's got an insane story, and he's just like, you can listen to him speak for like 10 minutes. He's like a recruitment expert, to say the least. And something that he shared was different tactics and strategies around creative writing. It's always something he's been super big on. So it's, when you're structuring your emails, making sure they're written properly, tailored, having a joke in there, making it specific to this person where it's going to be different from the other 10 or 15 emails that they've already received the last day. So yeah, email's a big one. And then also, LinkedIn is another really useful tool. LinkedIn voice messages has actually been something that has been super useful for us. Yeah, because even if because you can send so many LinkedIn messages and see someone's accepted your connection request, but then they don't even view the message. But it's when you send that little voice message, it's got the play in the line there. It's like,
so interesting.
What is this person saying to you? Like, you've got to press play on it to listen, so you get such a better response for it. So
that's really interesting. Well. I love that. Yeah. It's fresh. It's something that because it's, again, you've always got to be a little different. You've got to be, whatever's 100%. Happening, try and do something a little different. And that's a perfect example.
Yeah. No, it's been great for us. That's it. Try to stand out because it's so saturated. So why are they going to open your message? It's not even about responding to it. You just got to get them to open it and then worrying about that second part later.
Subject line, the hook, whatever.
Yeah.
So important.
Everything. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Love it. Well, Mitchell, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you. I've learned so much. And I've had a great podcast episode, final one for this podcast for the year.
Oh, good stuff. I'm glad you can finish off. I appreciate having me. It's been something I've wanted to do for a while, is to be a guest on someone else's podcast rather than just hosting my own. So it's been a great experience. I hope I've lived up to the expectation.
You've been fantastic, man. You've been very entertaining. And tell us a bit more about your own podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, shameless little plug there. Leaders in business. So yeah, like I said, it's essentially speaking to leaders within the industries, mostly centered around payment tech, but definitely some scope outside of that with some future guests we've got on at the moment. And it's a very similar format to this, really, understanding people's career journey, lessons, market insights, management skills, ups and downs, how they've got the most out of people, time to struggle in their career, all of that good stuff. We put it on Spotify, across our LinkedIn networks. And yeah, it's been a super useful tool and something I've really enjoyed doing. Yeah, definitely go and check it out if anyone's listening.
Well done, yeah. I'll make sure that I put the link to that in the show notes as well.
Oh, nice. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the success in the UK and the US. Have a great end of year to all you and your friends and family. And mate, we'll definitely keep in touch. And it's been a great episode. Really, really enjoyed having you on.
Oh, perfect. Darren, I appreciate it, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Legend, man. Have a great one. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Saul Searching, the Saul Recruitment Podcast. If you'd like to join me as a guest on the show, I would be delighted to collaborate. Feel free to buzz me on 0414 659 800 or email me on darren@saulrecruitment.com.au. I'm always on the lookout for great guests who can share their stories and expertise with my community. But for now, though, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.